Welcome back, Hot Nerd Network family. It's time again for another exciting Power Book 4 Force Season 2 recap. Today we'll be discussing the finale, which was fire. So I'm excited to get into that. But first, before we start, I want to introduce who we're going to be speaking to today. We're going to be talking to Hot Nerd Chimana once
Hello.
again.
Three-peat. Here
I
we
know, third time's a charm. But yes, before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But yes, let's get started. Let's start with the recap first. Wow, this episode starts off as Tommy and Diamond discussing their plan, how they're gonna get rid of Vic. Who we know from last episode, Tommy finds out is officially the snitch, working with the feds, and how they're going to gain more territory and more power. Of course, this plan includes Tommy getting the information from Shanti on Claudia's business, like meeting with the Serbs and the Marquez cartel. Eventually, you do see Tommy set them all up to take the fall for the Rico towards the end of the episode. So that was definitely, oh, that was exciting. I didn't even expect that to really happen, but
go.
wow, we'll definitely get into that. But Vic, however, had his own plans, setting up his sister by recording her confession for the attempted murder on him and including her father. Miguel still hates Tommy, so that's nothing new. And he still wants to eliminate him and regain his power, which is once again nothing new. D-Mac, since he's back in town, wants to get back with CBI. And of course, you saw his way of doing that was killing Mad Dog for revenge for Leon's murder. He thought he was helping, but that now just opens up a lot more loose ends that I know we'll talk about. Maria continues to see Tommy in this episode, in a way as a form of control over herself, to make this decision for herself. However, we do see at the end that Miguel finally finds out through Jannard that they are together and threatens Tommy that he will never see her again. So we'll see, discussing that more, what you think about that there. And then we do see also towards the end, Claudia does get stabbed in prison. So he does avenge Liliana. That was like a kind of full circle moment,
Yeah.
in a way, from the first episode to the finale. And we do see Vic live to see another day, which was definitely a surprise to me as well, to be Tommy's potential informant. So, for sure, a lot of loose ends, preparing for next season. But want to stop there and want to ask, what stood out to you the most?
I don't know. I just want to echo what you said. Big shout out to the finale. It was a great finale. What stood out? I would say, and I hate to say it, but DMAC. I don't know why. He can't seem to escape what he feels is destined for him. So he's just really
Mm.
doing moves that he doesn't quite understand. But I mean, I was a little shocked at what he had did, so that kind of stood out to me in this episode. And again, the one of the biggest things that stood out to me was, shout out to Tommy for his chess moves. I'm loving what he did with the whole setup with the FBI and the DEA. What he did, I think that was a a play on what Ghost would have done, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This season, we definitely saw Tommy expand and definitely kind of lean more into the more strategic role, thinking of the long game,
Yeah.
um, as well as being able to adjust and kind of adapt, to what is currently going on. My favorite part, too, is him looping in Shanti
Yeah.
in the plan. Um, and then towards the end, how Claudia kind of finds out how, the very person that you thought was, your partner and all this, someone who you could trust,
Yeah.
was playing you the whole time. And so it kind of speaks to like what I know has been discussed in earlier recaps about Shanti and how She's very unassuming, and so people aren't really considering her a threat. But she constantly is able to kind of finagle her ways, and also do her own chess moves too, like under the radar, and using people um, who believe that she's on their side, but is slowly kind of like making her own way, and like her own moves like towards the top, because eventually that's all what all these kind of major players want in the end, is power and control. um
And I'm just shout out to seeing her live to see episode 10.
I know a lot of them, like a
Yeah,
lot of people who were like almost destined
yeah,
to not make it, even past or even make it to the finale, have
right.
truly lived to see another day.
Yeah.
So did you expect this, how this was going to end, or were you more surprised still?
I'm surprised that Claudia got that tripped up.
Hmm.
That she got so comfortable thinking that she had all this protection, that she was untouchable, that she completely let her guard down. And Tommy warned her. He said, I wouldn't do that necessarily. But she did. And she really ended up in the worst position. Like, not only in prison, but potentially dead. And
I
so that to me, I expected a little more. I thought she was gonna wiggle her way out, but it was her brother who did, honestly.
Right. And it's like, once again, Vic finds a way. And it's like, why do you always, why does it always got to work out in your favor? Because in a way, between them two, I would have rather, see Claudia actually win
Yeah.
just for once. Because it's always just been a pendulum in her experience. It's like it swings one way in her favor. And then, like, the next moment, it's, you know, now she's taking the fall for everything. Like, they're gonna pin this, or they're gonna attempt to pin this entire Rico on her, and that is just. I did not want to see her demise in that way. Like, other for Vic, it would have just, I don't know, made more sense because he actually constantly put himself in that position to do that. But once again, Claudia was trying to actually think, be more strategic, try to think a little bit more in the long game, but once
But
again, just was going up against powerful enemies as well.
and that's the one thing that we see throughout all of these series and these episodes is that the child that got sheltered, that didn't get fully exposed into the life, they end up getting burned. Like Tariki really wanted to learn how to really operate in this manner. DMAC wanted to learn how to operate in that manner. She wanted to, but her dad ousted her in a lot of things that if she was privy to before that, like Vic knew, because his dad let him into that part of the drug business.
Right.
He let him in, so Vic kind of knows, like, okay, he knows I'm a snitch now. He knows certain things that Claudia's oblivious to because she was always protected. She was always kept at bay. So
Yeah.
Shanti, she got to see the game and she knows how it is. Even Marae knows how it is. But the people who didn't but want it so desperately, they end up getting burned because they don't know the life for real.
Yeah. Like you said, because she was in more of the financial aspect. So that's why, once again, like, we see her, you know, doing good with how to, get the money, how to, make deals, and how to like
Yeah.
manage the financial aspect. But once again, like you said, like when it comes to the people management or the enforcement, like
Yeah.
she never had to like really step into that role. And so she didn't honestly possibly know what it took, like,
Yeah.
to maneuver and do these things, and then on top of that, knowing now that you're a threat, how to like actually protect yourself
Right.
within that. Because it was always, in a way, like she was at that their mercy for protection, because in a way that's all she kind of really needed in the end, because she had the brains, she had all of the other kind of criteria that you would need to probably succeed and be successful in their business. But at the same time, she was lacking the protection, and she was lacking the guidance, like you said, that he did give to Victor. um
On how to move with different
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah. Just
Because
to,
then, like maybe she wouldn't have been, or maybe would have questioned Shanti a little bit more and, would have been a little bit more on her guard there. But once again, since she was always like kind of put in positions where she was at someone else's mercy, she didn't always get a choice to kind of vet people or really have a choice of, being able to pick and choose. It was almost who was available and how can I just, maximize this to the
hope
best
you
of
work
my
it,
ability.
hope you
Right.
work it out.
Yeah, but it's like you said, like they do end up getting, the worst, the short end of the stick
Yeah.
and having to take the brunt of this because truly to see Vic not not eliminated at this point is like, wow, you are the one who really has 9 lives. Like you're the one who's really actually lucky,
It's
so
giving.
to say, because we also don't know too like what Tommy will actually have him doing or what he means in terms of ownership, because that could be a whole other aspect that of course isn't going to be favorable. Like this it's just for Vic, you still have your life, where it's like for Claudia, we're not sure. Like
If
I
she
don't know
does
if
survive, she's compromised. For,
yes, for sure. Like there, I don't. Might be
that looked
paralyzed.
like a spinal injury. I'm sorry. Like that
Yeah.
looked so. Even if she does make it, I don't think she'll survive in prison. But yeah, Vic is giving Dre in the 9 lives.
Oh,
Like
that
what?
is very reminiscent of Dre in the original Power series, where it's just that one person where it's like, episode after episode, it's like it could be this time or it could be this time, and then it just gets like drawn out, and it's like when I don't even know now when it's going to happen or how it would happen or even if it will happen. But if it does happen, it will have to be epic like
Yeah,
Dre's. Like it can't be just like
Dre or Sax. That was pretty epic.
yeah, Sax. That
Yeah.
I still think about that one for some reason, and I don't know why. Shout out to you, Sax.
R.I.P. Oh,
And for real. Um, But yeah, even just because we kind of just touched on a lot of themes and symbolisms that were throughout this season and even in this episode. So, what do you think about, or what are your themes, or like what kinds of messages and things kind of stood out to you for this season?
definitely. And I know we touched on it in the past, and I've heard in the past or seen these themes like survival. That's always
Mhm.
been a major theme in this season, as well as chess. Like people are really thinking. Everyone has started to think and do chess moves versus just off of pure reaction. Now we did have some moments where it was just straight up, I'm gonna do this, but people are starting to put a little more thought into why they're moving the way they're moving. So I'd say survival, strategy, and hmm, and I hate to play on words, power. Everybody wants power. That's just what it is. And
Yeah.
everyone's doing what they have to do for themselves, which ties in again to survival.
Hmm. No, I definitely agree there, especially in terms of the chess moves, because you remember that scene even in this episode where Diamond was talking to Jannard at the barbershop when he was lining him up, saying, telling him about the plans on how they even got kind of in good graces with Miguel because they did that move with the Serbs. And then, so he's starting to even to let him in on like, oh, wow, like, I wouldn't have thought about that. And I'm surprised, like you guys even pulled that off. And so, I don't know if that was, helpful or hurtful for David to share that to Jannar. But once again, it's starting to open up, ideas and starting to open up like the opportunity to really, you know, kind of get creative in a way and to try to gain power but also not try to gain enemies or try to gain like tension along the way. So I think that that was really smart of Tommy throughout this season. Was of course again we still saw the reactive Tommy, the impulsive Tommy, But at the same time, we also did now see a side of Tommy where it's like, okay, I can think strategically, or no, I don't always have to go to force, or
Right.
I don't always have to go to extreme measures to kind of, you know, get the things that I want. Like, oh wow, I can like take a step back, think about it a little bit, and then also be patient, because I think that that was always something that kind of got in Tommy's way too, where he wanted things so quickly and like right now, versus like letting things, you know, play out a little bit more, letting things like actually kind of work itself out, instead of trying to kind of go in and kind of manipulate or control the situation to kind of just get it faster or quicker.
I think that's what he honestly learned from Ghost. Ghost was so successful because of his balance. When
Hmm.
Ghost had to execute, he did. And
Yeah.
when he had to step back, let things play out, he let that happen. And we saw, but then we also saw when emotions take over.
Yeah.
Like we saw what happened with Ghost when Raina died. Now we're seeing what happens with Tommy, with Liliana, with his nephew, and now with Maria. We're starting to see him like unravel a little bit.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, he's starting to tap back into old Tommy. And I'm not sure what he's gonna do now that he knows he doesn't know where Maria is now.
Right. Especially like that scream at the end. It's
I
like
know.
he's he's about to lose his mind. And now I'm scared because because when he's in that mindset, like you said, like going back into like older familiar ways, it just leads to like more holes, or you know, like leads to more loose ends, you know, just
Yeah,
leads to more. And so it's like that was also a powerful scene with him and Diamond at the end too. Like it isn't though just about you. Like even though he took Moraine, you know, like even we're all losing very important people or things
yeah.
like to us. And so it's like you also have to think like just because this person is important to you doesn't mean that
You
you
can the
avenging
whole
them,
operation.
yeah, is now comparable to you compromising possibly our entire business or our entire plan. Like,
Yeah,
and he's like, what do you mean? No, that's, you know, that's family, or that's, you know,
right.
that's somebody I'm loyal to. And it's like we understand that, but you know, I just lost Leon too, and like I wasn't trying to, you know, DMAC of course stepped in when no one asked him to, but at
He slid.
the same time he, you know, he even had to get checked in that regard too. Like, hey, like this is once again, yes, this is still a child. And so, you know, it was wild that he didn't really regard that, but also we're in business with someone, you know, that he's family to. So I can't just act impulsively and just go and eliminate him and, you know, keep it moving just because I'm so angry about Leon. Like I do have to think about this. And, you know, was trying to be
Yeah,
strategic. Like he was still angry, of course, but like he didn't just act, you know, at his own volition because he knew that they were in partnership with someone who's they're in business with, and
yeah,
that they're still working together, and that can't be jeopardized. But Tommy, I think, still has to, you know, learn that part or learn that lesson.
yeah.
Right.
Because somebody needs to do something with DMAC. He needs to get like go to another boarding school farther away where he can't just hop back to
Right.
Chicago.
Where
Like,
did he go? Like next town?
like
Like what was, yeah, hour away? Like
right.
that was
He came right
he
back.
needed to go across
Like
country, right? Where he can't just come back,
uh,
you know, on his own too. What he really just hopped on the bus.
he
And
did. Or so I feel like DMAC I feel like he may just have to learn his lesson. Like Tommy may just have to let him take the consequences of whatever is given to him because he's not listening.
and then that's also very reminiscent too of Tariq. Like
Yeah.
he had to kind of let him go in that way too. Especially after he killed his father. It's like, you know, like you're making your bed and now you gotta lie in it.
Yeah.
Like I can't come in now and, you know, get you out of the things or get you out of this. Like this
Yeah.
is something that you truly caused. And everyone, like everyone was begging you not to do it. His friends was like, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't. And then he was even trying to explain to him too, like, CBI has changed. Like it's not like low level anymore. Like now they're a major player in this whole entire in the Chicago area. So, we can't just do these kind of haphazard things and thinking that they're not going to have like real repercussions.
Right.
Um, because even Diamond was like, "Yeah, I get it. Like I'm mad too, but now now we have to deal with this, and now you just
War.
pissed me off too." Like,
Uh, yeah.
um, but even too, like I think another major theme, even beyond that as well, was just the theme of like acknowledgement and like needing some form of acknowledgement. And a major example to me was Jannard. Um, constantly, I think throughout this season, like he was just looking for someone to like validate what he has done for CBI and, what he's also capable and what he can bring to the table for CBI. And I think just um, he always kind of felt like Diamond, sorry, something like crashed over the top, but he always, in a way, like chose Tommy over him.
Yeah.
Um, that's how he, I think, perceived it, that he respects Tommy more, or like, Tommy's able to kind of bring all these things in. But it's like, to Jannard, it's like, I still ran this business for 15 years, like while you were in prison. Like Tommy was nowhere to be found during
Yeah.
that time. And guess what? Like things didn't just falter, or things didn't just wash away. Like I did control this and maintain this for such a long time. So to get, in a way, like completely disregarded just because someone new is coming in, like I felt like that was always like the breaking point for Jannard. Like I think it always, if the in a way, like if Diamond kind of just reeled back in and just was like, you know what, I do appreciate, for what you've done, and I do want to hear out your ideas or what you think. But I think just throughout, he was always just like his just disregarded for the most part, and having to kind of prove himself, where it's like there actually wasn't necessarily any proof. Like he did deserve some acknowledgement for being able to maintain and control that. I just think with Jannard, he wasn't able to really adapt or change to something new, and so it was also like a growing moment for him to try to be able to possibly learn and to grow and to kind of progress, but kind of still staying a little bit more stagnant in his
And I
actions.
agree. I think the only reason that Jannard didn't get that validation initially is because when Diamond came back out of prison, Diamond wanted his stuff back right away. There was no smooth transition over. There was no, hey, bro, I'm so thankful for what you've done. Let's figure out maybe a partnership. It's like, no, give me my stuff back. As if you weren't
Yeah,
gone for 15 whole years. No, thank you for
yeah,
giving it up. I need my
yeah.
stuff. That's what Diamond was on. And that's why Jay was like, okay, nah. So then that's why they split that whole thing. And then
Mm,
that's when Tommy kind of came in and kind of just took advantage of it, because that's what Tommy's doing right now. Like, that's what he's on. But um, I think there's that scene at the barbershop when Diamond was like, I'm glad you're back in the fold, Jay. Like, I think that kind of boosted him
mhm.
up. And he's like, okay, I'm starting to make my way back up. And I'm hoping to see a three-way partnership. I don't know
Yeah,
about Shanti. She's a wild card. But I'm hoping to see Diamond, Jay, and Tommy, like, running things, because I think Jay should not get demoted so low to a corner boy. Like, that's so disrespectful, because he was running CBI for 15 years. So to demote him that far down after all the work he's put in, they need to make him a partner,
yeah.
just out of respect.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I agree. And then look too, like who he was getting his validation from, Shanti, like
Yeah.
especially throughout like that 15-year time period as well. So, now that she's, trying to gain a little bit more power and control herself, he's like so easily like being able to, or wants to listen to her, because like in a way, she's his like safe space. Like that's where he was getting, the accolades and the respect and the things that he, was seeking so hard and wanted from Diamond. And so that's why she does have such like, in a way, a heavy influence. Even now we see up into this last episode, and will continue. To almost to be able to like draw her teeth in to kind of pull out what she needs from him as well.
Well,
Because and if you're not like completely like whole or stable in yourself, it's like you're gonna want and need these things from others. And kind of like with Jannard and Diamond's dad, like why he always hated Diamond in a way, because it's like you didn't need me. And so, like Jannard needs these things that, Shanti or Diamond, don't necessarily like need to like be able to progress or move on. And so it's not necessarily a big as a crutch for them. So
you made a fair point, but and now it makes sense now that we're talking about it. Shanti's the only one out of Diamond and Tommy who's seen Jannard run it. That's why she probably has such high regard. She's like,
right.
she's like, and then now she's like, no, what do you mean you going back down, getting demoted like this? I saw you run this organization for 15
Yeah.
years successfully, and now, no. And just knowing Shanti's personality so far, she's not going to let that slide.
No.
Even, and so to be fair, Shanti's seen Jay operate and move like a boss. And that's why she's like, let's keep this up. And matter of fact, let me partner with you. Let's see what's up. So
Yeah.
I love it.
I do like their partnership too, because they are like, they do go hand in hand. I just think that they can lose sight a little bit because of their just need, because it's almost like Jannard needs validation and acknowledgement, but Shanti still needs, control and power. And so those things collide, at times, or she's able to kind of use that to gain, the things that she needs. And so, in a way, it's like I do love their partnership because, they do kind of validate and encourage each other's strengths. In a way, she is still validating, like you said, like you were a boss or you are a boss, and, just to continue like acting in that. And, also he helps her out too in terms of strategizing, or, just not being too impulsive, like with decisions. I think, it was just in a way weird, coming from Jadar, just because, for episodes on episodes and episodes going on, it's like, this just wasn't you. But, it's nice to see that. But, once, like the other isn't, or it's like once they like their needs kind of overpower like what the real goal is, like that's when they also will start like manipulating each other, and being able to say the right things and do, to try to get them to do the things that they want to do. And so in a way, like they do work well together, but at the same time, like they may be may cause each other's demise too in that way.
And that might come in time because you see how there's still friction between Diamond and Tommy with the power play um and I think Jay and Shanti have a symbiotic relationship. They play
Mhm.
off each other's strengths, their weaknesses. And there's times where Shanti, I like that scene in the boxing ring where she was upset about something that Jay said. Jay was like, "You pretty much not killing my brother." And she's like, "This was the plan." But then she's like, "Let's put a pin in it." Like, I like that. Like, that's healthy. That's, if we can't get anywhere right now, let's take a step back, think about it, and then come back to it. Like, so I think
Yeah.
with time and growth, they can make a good partnership.
Hmm. Because I am rooting for Shanti. Like
Yeah.
in a way, I just hate, for her to be at odds with Tommy, just
Yeah.
because, like, anybody, of course, at odds with Tommy, it truly doesn't end well for them. And it's like, I do want this to end well for you.
Mhm.
So, I do wonder now, like, what her, long game and what her plan is. Cause, she is playing her cards right. Or, like, up until this point, like,
Yeah.
she's still in a place of position, to kind of get the things that she wants. And so that's also too like what she was saying to Claudia on the phone, like, you know,
I see a winner.
once again, I know, yeah, I see a winner. I know a winner when I see one. And it wasn't you,
Yeah.
period, ever. But
Uh, wasn't.
right. And then too, another major theme as well, on top of like the things that we talked about, was for sure control. And then when it comes to control, it makes me think of Miguel, and how, for so long he's had things ran a certain way. And then once again, like when Tommy came in and kind of, switched things up and made things a lot different, he started to feel, him losing power. And then of course with his grandmother, in his ear before she died, saying like, you need to watch out for this person. Like they are definitely coming for your spot, or they want power and control just as much as you do. And as soon as you let your guard down, like they're gonna come in and take it. And that's literally exactly like what happened um to Miguel. And so now I just think like his need for control, and once again also his need for respect back, is going to drive a lot of, possibly like unfavorable things for him. Because in a way he's also like Che, I think still like wants to work with him, and like wants to continue making money from him. He's still a pipeline for him. But at the same time it's like, like Tommy said, like at the end, like when Diamond asked him, like, why didn't you push a little harder, like, to Che, like to basically be able to take Miguel out as a player. And it's all, he's like, I'm just gonna play it cool, and in a way, in some degree, like let it work itself out, because Che is like moving where he's not really thinking clearly because of, once again, his need for control. And he's going to, kind of run himself into like his own hole, or run himself into a ditch, especially to like just haphazardly trying to put the hit out on Tommy, and failing, like,
Yeah.
just once again, like Luke keep like not keeping focus, like, and putting his focus elsewhere where it doesn't necessarily need to be.
And you make a Miguel's gonna burn himself. Just and it comes the quote comes to mind that rotten fruit falls on its own. So Tommy doesn't need to necessarily do anything because Miguel is already not thinking straight anymore because of the loss of his grandma and the loss of the power that he already had,
Yeah.
and his need for control over his sister. Like that's another play. Like why are you in your sister's business so bad? Like why?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so yeah, I think Tommy's gonna wait a little bit, but my only issue with Tommy right now is that he's not consulting with Diamond. Like, can we not do that? Can we talk and be a team, be an equal
Yeah.
partnership? Because Diamond was very clear in saying, yes, you did a lot of these power plays, but you wouldn't be here to reap these benefits if you didn't have our backing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you think this coalition would have happened off of you just saying, let's come together? Absolutely.
Right.
And
Right.
so Tommy needs to kind of recognize that a little bit more and stop playing with Diamond and Jay, acting like they don't need to necessarily be in the loop because now Tommy's trying to act like at the next thing I think is Tommy's gonna try to come for Chase spot. Like and Che
Yeah.
have it. And I think that's what I really respect about Che. He kept his loyalty to Miguel and
Yeah.
Che let him know I'm still the boss. Because if you
Yeah.
suggest stuff and I keep going with every little thing you suggest, you're gonna start thinking that you can like tell me what to do, and that's not
Hmm.
yet.
Yeah. Right. He definitely was like, okay, let me set some boundaries here. Just
Yeah,
make a little thing, like make a lot of these things very clear. Because first off, like, I'm still, this is still the you know, business of the Estrada cartel, like, and you are a part of that business. You are now not the Estrada cartel. So I have to, first of all,
make that clear.
remind that, right? Let's get that first clear. And no, I definitely agree with you too. Um, where it's like, because Tommy just always has been described, especially throughout this season, as like a pirate, or just someone coming in, and in a way just taking from. Um and it's like, I do respect, to a degree, like it's not necessarily exploiting them, where it's like he's it's at their expense. Like they are actually making a lot more like together, like in this coalition, than apart. But at the same time, like to your point, like he's still making moves as though it's just him and it's just on him, and that this is and that he doesn't necessarily have to regard or take into consideration what someone else's thoughts are. And he made a point where it's like, I just see opportunities and I take it. And it's like, that doesn't, just because the opportunity is there doesn't necessarily mean it's beneficial. And you wouldn't know that, if this really was a good idea or not without necessarily consulting with anyone. And so I think it's just, for me, like Tommy feeling very much out of place. And then for even for the Serbs, for Miguel, and wait, the Serbs, like Miguel, who else am I talking? And just the Estrada cartel
Yeah.
overall, like they just operate, or we seen so much like on family and like on connection and having roots. Or I was even thinking, even the Flynns,
Yeah.
and how Tommy's just kind of coming in, operating just so solely and just, by himself. It's like, this is outside of like the culture of like what we established these things to be. Like we, you know, see, they even regard like CBI is a family. Like this is, like we are a group, we are a connection. Like, and you thinking that what you do doesn't affect the person next to you is, you know, that's not the kind of behavior that, helps us all prosper. It does help you prosper, and maybe we do get the byproduct of that, but at the same time, that's not sustainable. Like that would only, last until it can't, or until something big comes up and, just
And then he
so like there it can't actually be repairable.
and
It's,
he got mad at Ghost for doing that to him, and now he's doing it.
yeah, he did.
Ghost him all the time. Like,
Hmm.
when were you gonna tell me? Or I'm going in here, or you didn't let me know this, and you're doing the same thing now. And um, so yeah,
Right.
I think Tommy needs to reel it back in a little bit and let people in on the game. And that's why that first scene was so important in the show, in the final episode, because Diamond had to let him know, look, you were so gun ho thinking the snitch was my brother, and it was actually someone who you were getting closer to. You had no idea it was him. And then Tommy tried to brush it off, like, yeah, yeah, I know. You don't think I know that? Then let's keep it moving. But if it was the other way around, it would have been the biggest issue, you know?
Yeah, right, right. No, that is so true. This is definitely very reminiscent of how Ghost used to treat him and how it came to a head. Like, I need to know, because now it's like you're doing things that are truly like affecting the entire business, and it's just solely, like you're saying it's, for the greater good, or you're saying it's for everyone, but it's really for you.
Right.
Like and that's why you didn't feel the need to have to consult me about it, because it's just for you.
Yep.
And and these things aren't just byproducts. This is a business, this is a family, like there are certain ways in which this operates for it to have longevity. And so they're just like, you kind of continue to come in and do your own stuff. It's like, then, nobody is going to want to be around you, or, the people that do get around you, quickly we see, they fall to their own demise. Like even JP, his brother had to say that to him. Like
Hmm.
his mom,
Oh,
it's just like Kate, it's like, like
Kate.
wrong messenger, but still, it's like, it's still the right message.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, when is it going to, because this isn't, the Tommy that we are particularly used to. Like we are more used to the Tommy that is like, no, we all come together as one, or, like we move as one, and that's just how it is. Um, and then, we deal with it whatever way. But, no, but he always kind of saw ghosts as like opportunistic and like, you know, always just kind of just hopping on the next thing, even if it wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily the best thing or um for everyone. Like it might have benefited you and then it, we might have got a little of like the benefit here and there, but overall it was still something that was on your agenda and
And,
not necessarily our agenda.
and that's why I respect Shanti so much. She said, "Excuse me, I need to know the plan." Because Tommy wasn't
Yeah,
even going to tell her the plan. And she was like, "Give me that info." She said, "Hold on. What is the plan?" Because she could have easily been in that building with Claudia if she didn't know
right.
the plan.
And maybe he even, yeah, and I don't even know if he would have necessarily cared
Yeah.
about that, but he's like, absolutely not. I will not.
Just
Uh,
pretty much shout out to Shanti for absolutely making sure that she's in the know. And I'm going to
mhm,
take a play out of that book and, you know, literally apply that to my life and be like, listen, you want something out of me? I need to know what's going on. Like, let's
mm,
get all the assumptions, assuming. Tell me what's going on. So I
right,
really enjoyed that scene as well when Shanti said, I don't work for you. I work with you. So you need to let me know the plan if you need something from me. And Tommy had
right,
nothing but respect for that. And he let her know what's, and that's pretty much probably why she's not in prison as well.
right. And yeah, and at the same time, it's like, stop acting like we're so expendable to you.
Yeah.
Like you need something from me right now. So don't act like I don't have something that's, of value or
Yeah.
something to offer in this entire kind of business. Like this isn't all on you. Like you aren't always, like you need people, like you
Right.
need us in a way, and so stop acting like you know you could have gotten this information some other way. Like
He
who
couldn't
else would you
have.
have gone? Right. And so it's like,
Literally.
like you said, like stop playing with me. Like I'm not beneath you. We are partners, and if this is going to be a give and take, this
Right.
you need something from me, and now I'm going to make my demands. Like this isn't just a one-way street. We work together, and so I think Tommy, right, like you said, like was just getting that message all throughout the season, and particularly just this episode for sure. In regards to um, Diamond saying it and Shanti saying it, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it would take, even if it's like what could happen to DMAC for next season, where it would where when are you going to learn that this truly isn't all about you, and that and it's like of course we have seen Tommy lose and have to sacrifice things and people as well, and has taken some significant losses. So it's like I'm not even saying to like Tommy hasn't had to give up
Right.
anything for the sake of this, but at the same time it's like everything you do, I hope now, is like going to affect someone else, like
Right.
everything, every little thing. And um like you can't be over here like having your secret agenda and thinking that it kind of runs you know
Like it
parallel
should
to,
work.
yeah, yeah, like it's not the same.
And can you not break and enter my business? Thank you.
Right. Well, I know we definitely touched on all of our characters at this point, but I do want to know, who was your favorite character for this season, and what was like, something that again stood out to you from them?
I honestly, and he wasn't at first, but Jay is, he's just, he grew on me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I grown to respect Jay. At first, he was like very, to me, he didn't think much. I think he got caught up in my brother's back. Um, where do I go from here now? And
Mhm.
I think now by the end of this season, he found his footing. And I really enjoyed seeing him grow. I enjoy seeing him think and not be so impulsive. But then he's funny
Mhm.
too. And I'm like, For to be a leader for that long, you had to have gained the respect of the people who followed you.
Oh yeah.
And they respected him. And I'm just hoping to see better from him. I want him in that top partnership because he deserves it. Like so him, I like Shanti too. I do. I just want her to mm, I just want her to I don't know. I want to say I want her to think, but she is a thinker, you know? I think it's her impulsiveness that kind of makes me nervous. That's all.
Mhm.
I want her to do good. I want her to be well. And I love that she's authentically her. I love that.
Yeah.
Um and I liked Claudia. I did. But she's
Maybe
gone.
still like. We don't know where
We
she's at.
don't know, but I don't see her going in the capacity as where she was going because of that injury. Honestly, like she barely got the respect that she was trying to get so hard, and now that she's injured in this way, she may not even be. Unfortunately, she may not be like looked at. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted better for her. I wanted to see her honestly team up with Dublin and just ride this out. Like I wanted to see her in her full potential, but it's not happening. I'm sorry. I know. So those are some like characters that I enjoyed watching throughout. I always enjoy Leon. His character touched me. It really did. And the people that he represents. Um,
Mhm.
and so I just the Leons make you want better. Makes you want to do better and want better. And so he has a soft spot. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I love Tommy, of course. And I'm excited to see that, his growth. Um, and to see him, just a different side that we're not necessarily as used to. We're always used to the brute force
Yeah.
enforcer, like go and handle business, and that's that, and not much else to it. But once again, with the first kind of like blitz attack that he used to get in good with Miguel, and then like the second one where he pinned everything on Claudia, it's like, oh wow, like this isn't what we're necessarily used to. We always kind of knew you had it in you and like had the capabilities to do it. It's just, once you finally like calm down and kind of harness that energy and put it and use it to focus instead of, just to kind of react. We could see a lot of the longevity there. And then, I mean, I don't know if this is so cliche too. I love Diamond as well. That was one of my favorite.
I knew it.
Um, but yeah, I am always the girl that's gonna cheer for the main characters. That's just who I am. But overall, but in a way, I was happy too to see like all facets of Diamond this season. Um, Especially the scary, the scarier side, or like the side that's like, oh, now we understand, what Jannard was talking about, or like now I see, how I kind of garnered all this respect, you know in your neighborhood and just like in this business overall. And it's like, because before it's like, you're coming out trying to like be the peacemaker and like, doing all this stuff. It's like this isn't translating. Like
Right.
Janon's like, no, this isn't it. Like this is not what we're used to. And then like when we did see glimpses of it, it was like, oh, okay, now I fully understand what they were talking about. And
Yeah.
actually now I prefer you to go back to your
Yeah.
peaceful ways, please. We don't actually need you to lean in, so heavily to this aspect. But just it's like in a way it was nice to see just all of his sides. And that people do have a breaking point, and like where even just in that business, like in how it's perceived, like I have to be like cold-hearted, or like I don't feel anything, just for the sake of like survival, or even for the sake of peace. But you know it was almost in a way nice to see that he's human, that these things are affecting him, and like these, and he does have in a way a lot of compassion and like a lot of empathy, and how sometimes a lot of that turns into anger, um especially like when you don't have an outlet for it, or when you don't have any like healthy ways to like channel that, it like easily can turn into anger. Like that compassion and that love that he felt for Leon and had for Leon quickly turned into anger and revenge and resentment, like when he wasn't able to express like what he was feeling in any other kind of way, because in a way that this is one, expected of him, and then two, it's like what other avenues has he kind of ever been presented, to really counter that reaction, like you know
Yeah.
once again, like his father figure, or like his parent, like weren't necessarily as involved, like, so he didn't have any other like safe spaces besides, or any other kind of someone else kind of teaching him a different way. And so, he had to almost become that for himself. And so to see, um, just his reaction to Leon, it just, showed, I think, just a clear picture of, just the weight of it all. Just and how these things are truly sad, and it's not just a day-to-day kind of thing, and it's not just um or shouldn't be just such a regular occurrence where this there's some sort of normalcy to this. Like his reactions showed like, even if I am used to seeing this, it's not necessarily good or beneficial, or
Okay.
actually, yeah, healthy, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah. I like Diamond too, and I'm always gonna be a Tommy fan as well. I just these I think this show in general has just been phenomenal and has grown. I think
Hmm.
um we've seen more sides to all the characters. Um
Yeah, for sure.
we've seen Kate, the mom, like try to get,
Yeah.
regain, I guess, trust in her children. She showed more empathy. She showed her struggle that she had with her addiction. And
Yeah.
tried to fight it, and how sometimes she would succumb to it. But I mean, she's
Yeah.
like these are real life things, and I think this show is very relatable, and it touched on a lot of different types of situations and circumstances that anyone watching can on some degree relate to.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you brought up Kate. Shout out to Kate. I am
Hey.
really proud of her season, especially too because once again, up until I think this season, all we've seen is like one aspect of
Yeah,
Kate, just like the um,
she just was.
like the non-involved parent that almost kind of causes more trouble than they should. But how she really was serious about recovery
Hmm.
and trying to change her ways, and it was comical to some degree, even maybe to viewers, but especially even to Tommy, like, what are you talking about? Like, this is all you do, or this is all you are. And she's like, no, I can change. Like, I really like, and so it just points out that aspect too. Like
Oh,
people really can change, and people can, um, have a difference, and switch up. Like I think so hard, like Diamond wanted to do, but kind of got shattered a little bit when Leon passed. But how? And I think well, not think, I am rooting for Kate. Like I do
yeah.
think, like in this next season, um that, or hopefully there's a next season to come, that she is able to fully get out of drugs, and be able to kind of switch everything around. She's already made good progress, and like you
Yeah.
said, like you can have downfalls, or you can still just succumb to some of these things, but at the same time, if you're still willing to try again, and use it, still willing to like keep going, like that does speak a lot too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of
Motivating
power.
to see that. Yeah. Unlike D-Mac, who wants to go the reverse, he wants to get back into the lifestyle that so many people want to get out of. He wants to dive right into it. So hopefully, as he gets older and maybe has to deal with some of the consequences of his actions, maybe he'll change as well. We'll
Oh
see.
yeah, like once I mean now um maybe he was gonna get away with the cop killing, possibly, but him killing Mad Dog is not gonna go over lightly. Like, and that again is, and he doesn't even know like he's being offered up right now, and so neither does Tommy. And so it's like we'll also see that clash as
Yeah,
well, because that'll put definitely a friction between Diamond and Jannard and Tommy and his family. So it's not gonna go over lightly with anyone. Like
yeah,
Mad Dog's family with the RDs, and then them working with CBI, and two, just overall, like, and how Diamond's more on the side of this is business. Like, no one asked him to do this. I
no,
don't know what conversations you having with him. And actually, once again, because you left me in the dark, you told me, like you told me you've gotten,
right. You
be
handled
seeing
it.
him longer. So for him to be popping up telling me he just killed somebody on my behalf, what is going on?
Right. Oh my gosh.
And then too, it's like, okay, so we just talked about the characters as well, and then there are just a few because I went back to some of the older recaps and to try to
Yeah.
see some of our predictions to see if some of those came true. And one that stuck out that we kind of just touched on was, Kate coming back and doing something chaotic. So her, of course, once one the first time letting DMAC go out and do that favor, which ended up him killing the cop, and then two, letting Tommy know that he's back in town, and then uh, so that's all right. That was somewhat true. Like, of course, Kate, we definitely applaud her growth, but she's for sure. We still see the old Kate very reminiscent in that, and so we did see that come true. But we did predict from episode 3 recap that Tommy wasn't going to stop avenging Liliana. I honestly thought he was going to take a pause. Or even maybe like not let it go. I don't know if he'll ever let anything like that go, but like that's now not top of list, or I'm still not, thinking about that. But we saw very much well that he was thinking about that from truly the first episode to this finale.
Hmm.
Uh oh, and then another one was of course we thought Tommy and CBI was going to be taken down by the feds in episode 6, but that wasn't going to happen. Or what was interesting though, what was said was that, and Shanti will play a small part in that. And we do see like it's not necessarily small, like she was a huge,
Yeah.
portion of that. And
Yeah.
so I definitely think that kind of speaks to Shanti's development
Yeah.
um this season, and how she's little player anymore. Like now she's so positioning herself to be almost like a four-way partnership.
Yeah.
Jannard, Tommy,
Yeah.
Diamond, and her. So I
Hmm.
would love that. I would actually really love to
I
see
like
that.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah. um, what was another one? Um, oh, and then from episode 2, so from our first episode, that Diamond and Jannard would come together and be a
Yeah.
united front. So maybe we foreshadowed season 3, but
They're back.
I hope at least yes, we got half of it right. They are back together.
Yeah.
Um, are they going to be a united front? Possibly. Like I do think Jannard is very serious now about being loyal to his brother. He
Yeah.
just never cared about Tommy. He's never going to care about Tommy, and so he's like he can go. Um,
He keeps slaying side. We really need him. Like he keeps trying to put that bug in Diamond's ear, but
because he definitely just like
Right.
he should go. Everyone wants Tommy to go, honestly, besides Diamond. So in
Yeah.
a way, Tommy, I hope he figures that out so he could kind of keep Diamond on his good graces because
Yeah.
that's truly the only one in your corner
Right.
that's defending you right now. So oh my gosh. Well, what do you think, will come for season three? Now that we kind of just talked about some of those predictions from season two and how they ended up.
Right. I'm definitely thinking that Tommy's going to go find Maria. Like,
Um,
for sure. Like, that's how it ended. So that's probably gonna be how it started. Similar to how season one ended with Liliana, and then season two starting up with him wanting to avenge Liliana. So
mm-hmm.
so that's
Mm,
definitely gonna happen. I'm so curious what's gonna happen with DMAC. Like we just talked about, he opened a can of worms. I don't think that he'll make it. And
hmm.
prediction in season three, and that's gonna cause a ripple effect as well
Yeah.
because remember JP knows a lot, and if he finds out his son died due to this, what's stopping him from going to the police or anything like that? And
Right.
just look, I played a part in this too, but I'm really trying to get out of this lifestyle and look what happened to my son. So I think that's a big thing that's gonna be in play next season. Um I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with Shanti. I really hope that like I'm speaking it that there's gonna be a four-way leadership, like there's gonna be a four-way partnership. And I think Jay and Shanti are gonna like be in charge of a piece of it while Tommy and Diamond are operating another piece of it, but they're all like the boss. So
Mm-hmm.
um I'm curious about Miguel. I'm not sure if Che's gonna keep him around. So I don't think that Miguel's equipped anymore. Like I just think too much has happened, and Miguel's just gonna be so focused on getting Tommy back that he's gonna lose focus, and Che's gonna be like, "You're bad for business. You're out."
Yeah.
So
Yep. I agree. I definitely agree with Miguel's aspect. Like he's almost like running its course
yeah,
um, right now, and like you said, like definitely gonna lose focus soon because he's just so fixated, just like the agent Stacy,
oh,
yeah, Agent Stacey, that how Stacey Marks, how she was, just so pressed about Tommy Egan that it's like you just took down a major cartel and all of their connects, and you're
yeah.
still so fixated on And then it's like, what do you mean your standards are high because you have to
Right,
get Tommy? It's like, where he was like, huh? You just got a cartel, isn't that like, isn't that now equivalent?
right.
But
Yeah. So
so
she's not though,
oh,
but
she's not gonna let that go. So I definitely, still foresee that like Tommy getting hit in some other angle because again, they still have the wire,
yeah,
the thing in his house. So I wonder what could come of that, and what angle the feds might use there. I do agree too. I want Shanti to be in the four-way partnership. But I do see if honestly, if Jannar does get in her way, like I do see, her possibly, sacrificing Jannar for power and just, for the things that she's been also working so hard to get to too. It's just that and is why I say that too is because he's now kind of switching his loyalty back to Diamond, where it was kind of solely focused on her. And so that's where I think, she'll see that maybe now I might be expendable to you. And, they may be at odds there. I do definitely agree that Tommy's gonna go looking for Maria. But I don't know what he's gonna find. Like I don't know where she's at. I don't know what Miguel, did to his own sister. So it's like, oh my gosh, I don't. But it's like honestly, I don't necessarily even, just leave her alone. I hope she's safe. I hope
right.
he didn't kill her. But if she's safe, leave her alone. Like
Yeah,
because that's just not going to end well for neither one of you.
yeah.
Um, and then I do agree, DMAC, DMAC, why you
Uh,
doing DMAC? It's like we're trying to clear one fire and you're going to start another. Why would you do that?
Right.
But I definitely think, that will come to where, Tommy's just going to have to make a decision. Um, and I don't know what Tommy would choose. I truly don't. Because once again, he almost let Kate die this episode. So it's like, that's my own mom. I killed my own dad. I
Killed
killed Holly.
born child. Like,
Yeah. So, it isn't looking too good for D-Mac because who is really fighting for him besides his dad? So, we might see their part, but who knows there. But no, I am super excited to see what that will come to. But that will be a wrap for this week's recap and for season 2 overall, for Power Book 4, for season 2. Thank you again for joining us, Chimana. It's always a pleasure to have you, and hopefully we can meet again for season 3, and to see what kind of goes on there. But
I'll be there.
any last words?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what's to come in season 3. Yeah.
Yay. But yes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to join the conversation and stay updated on all things Hot Nerd Network. And yes, stay tuned for what is to come in the Power universe. But until then, stay nerdy. Love y'all.